My first job in a church was back in the early 70s when I served as a youth pastor in what was then the Panama Canal Zone at the Crossroads Bible Church. My senior pastor was a guy named Dr. Bob Hubbard. I remember that one Sunday Bob preached a message from 1 Samuel 30, a story of one of David's encounters with the Amalekites. And his text that morning came from verse 24, which in the King James Version, from which he read, says this, "For who will hearken unto you in this matter? But as his part is that goeth down to the battle, so shall his part be that tarrieth by the stuff." Bob's message that day was about those who stay by the stuff. I have to tell you, I wasn't unduly impressed with his theme that day. Maybe it was just the antiquated language of the King James Version from which he read. More likely, just the whole idea didn't really connect with me as a young youth pastor. And I have to confess that in the 4 decades since then, I've never once preached a message or taught a lesson from this particular passage. Well, last week, that verse about staying by the stuff came back to me in my morning devotions, happily this time from another translation, and this time it connected. So let me refresh your memory about the story itself and then tell you why it was that last week all of a sudden the passage made sense to me. 1 Samuel 30 tells about David and his soldiers having been out on a military campaign. When they returned home to their hometown of Ziklag, they discovered that the Amalekites had raided their town, had burned it to the ground, had taken all the women and children captive, as well as all of their belongings. So after a time of mourning, David sought God's counsel, after which he and his troops set out to pursue the Amalekites. At one point in their pursuit, they reached a ravine, a particularly hard piece of terrain to cross, and 200 of his 600 men were so exhausted from the previous battle that they simply couldn't go on any farther. So they remained there with some of the belongings, some of their supplies, and David and the other 400 went on. They finally caught up with the Amalekites. They fought them all day long. They killed most of them, defeated them, rescued all of the women and children, got all of their belongings back, as well as all the livestock that the Amalekites themselves had had. And so now David, with all the women and children and his soldiers in tow and all of the plunder, are making their way back home. And they come to the place where the 200 had remained behind. And as they got to that place, some of the soldiers who had been with David in battle said this. They said, "Those guys didn't fight with us, so we're not going to share any of the spoils of the battle with them. They don't deserve any of it." Well, happily, David immediately rejected their proposal. He reminded them that it was the Lord who had protected them and who had handed over their enemy to them. And then he declared these words, and let me read it from the King James Version. "The share of the man who stayed with the supplies is to be the same as that of him who went down to battle." And he concluded with his final pronouncement, "All will share alike." Well, just a week ago, I received an email reporting that 2 of our missionary colleagues in Peru, along with a volunteer from Atlanta and some of their Peruvian colleagues, were going to be heading out into the jungle for a 2-week trek into the Amazon to make contact with 2 unreached tribes, preparing the way for future medical evangelism among those people groups. And they described the journey that they were going to be taking. The first day was an 8-hour drive in a 4-wheel drive vehicle until they couldn't go any farther. Then they were going to be getting into a pickup truck, driving for several more hours to a river. They would take a boat 4 hours upriver, and then walking overland, they would hack their way through the jungle for about 5 hours until they finally got to where this first tribe lived. Well, I read about that, and so I immediately sent the 3 of them an email just telling them that I would be praying for them and that the rest of us here in the office would also be lifting them up in prayer. Well, not much more than an hour later, I had an email back from one of their wives, Lori Drum, and she said this in her email. She said, "Thank you so much, Dick. Please cover them in your prayers. Some of us who are staying behind are really worried and stressed." And she identified herself as the primary one who was worried and stressed. And she concluded by saying, "This is a real trek of faith." Well, just a day or 2 before that email exchange, I had read 1 Samuel 30 in my morning devotions and had come to this verse and was reminded of what had seemed like sort of a quaint sermon from Bob Hubbard about those who stayed by the stuff. And so when I had this email exchange with Lori, I immediately wrote her back and told her about this passage of Scripture. And I reminded her that in the Old Testament, it had become a matter of law that the ones who remained behind with the belongings at home shared equally in the battle with the ones who actually went into battle. Sometimes, I said to her, sometimes the harder part is to wait behind, wondering what's happening. Well, as I'm speaking, my colleagues are in the jungle, and Lori and the other wives and the children are at home wondering how their hubbies are doing and praying God's protection over them and His blessing on their ministry. The good news is that one day in eternity, when the fruit of this little missionary venture is tallied up, the families back home will share equally in the spoils of battle, if you will, with the guys who went into the jungle. But you know, it's not just my missionary colleagues or their wives and kids back home who stayed by the stuff who will share in the fruit of this venture. It's also all of you who pray for these missionaries and who, in one way or another, support them and their work. You see, what makes it possible for a little missionary band to head into the jungle to pave the way for future ministry to 2 unreached Amazonian tribes is the fact that there are a lot of people who are backing them up in prayer and in other kinds of support. It takes the whole team, not just the handful of guys who actually are out on the front lines. So your part is vitally important today. And I believe that the principle David articulated and that was reported here in 1 Samuel 30 applies as much today as it did back then. There will be spiritual fruit from this missionary venture. But that fruit doesn't just belong to the few guys on the team who are in the Amazon today, but also to all of those who kept the supply lines intact. Bob Hubbard's sermon makes a lot more sense to me today.